Hey, Leap Inspire family. Buckle up, because we're diving into a heart-pounding Chapter 5 of Anna's journey that'll grip your soul and keep you hooked till the very last word. Trust me, this tale of courage, fear, and a flicker of hope is one you won't want to miss. Picture Anna standing at a crossroads, her heart racing, caught between the shadows of control and a burning desire to break free. Will she find the strength to reclaim her life, or will the weight of Rudra's gaze pull her deeper into his world? Every twist in this story will tug at your heart, so stay with us to see how one moment changes everything. Let's jump in. Anna's breath caught in her throat as Rudra's piercing gaze locked onto hers, his smirk chilling her to the core, the air in the room thickening with an intensity that made her feel small, exposed. His presence loomed larger than ever, as if the walls themselves bent to his will, and her instinct screamed to flee, to escape the suffocating weight of his eyes. She took a step back, but his hand shot out, gently but firmly catching her wrist, pulling her until her back pressed against the warmth of his chest, his breath grazing her ear. "Not so fast, Anna," he murmured, his voice a low rumble, blending authority with an unsettling calm that sent shivers down her spine. "I didn't mean to upset you," she whispered, her voice trembling as anxiety knotted her chest, her pulse racing under his touch. "You're not in trouble," Rudra said softly, his hand resting lightly on her arm, his tone steady but not harsh. "But running doesn't solve anything." He guided her to the car, his grip firm yet careful, as if balancing control with restraint, while her mind spiraled with unease, the city lights blurring past the window like fleeting hopes. The silent drive to the mansion stretched her nerves taut, each mile amplifying her dread, part of her wishing the journey could stretch into forever to delay the inevitable. When they arrived, Rudra's movements were swift, his voice calm but heavy with intent. "We need to talk," he said, the words landing like stones, freezing her in place. Her feet moved reluctantly as he led her inside, the grand foyer of the mansion swallowing her in its opulence, a stark contrast to the chaos in her heart. He released her arm, and for a moment they stood in a charged silence, the air thick with unspoken truths. Rudra shed his coat and shoes, his movements deliberate, then turned to her, his expression unreadable, a mix of steel and something softer she couldn't place. Anna backed away instinctively, her legs trembling, her heart hammering as she collided with the cold wall, her wide eyes betraying her uncertainty. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said, his voice almost apologetic, his hand reaching out slowly, fingers brushing her cheek with a gentleness that made her flinch, caught between fear and the unexpected warmth in his touch. "Why do you keep running from me?" he asked, frustration lacing his concern, his eyes searching hers for answers she wasn't ready to give. "I was scared," she admitted, her voice barely a whisper, raw with vulnerability. "I didn't know what you'd do." His brow furrowed, a flicker of confusion crossing his face. "Why? The rumors?" he pressed, his tone softening, probing deeper. "Or something else?" Anna shook her head quickly, desperate to clear the air. "No, they lied. I didn't encourage them, I swear." He studied her for a long, heavy moment, then exhaled, his shoulders easing slightly. "I don't know what to believe right now, but running only makes things worse. I don't want to control you, Anna. I want us to face this together." His words softened further, carrying a trace of sincerity that stirred a faint hope in her chest, though fear still clung to her like a shadow. "I know it's not easy," he continued, his voice quieter, "but trust is the only way forward. I don't want to hurt you. I need you to know you can't run from me anymore." Anna nodded, her throat tight, tears spilling not just from fear, but from the weight of a life she never chose, a life where every step felt like a battle. "I don't want to be afraid of you anymore," she said, her voice small but resolute, a spark of defiance breaking through. "But I need you to understand how I feel." Rudra's gaze held hers, searching, almost regretful. "I'm not trying to control you," he said, his voice low, tinged with something like remorse. "I just want you to feel safe with me." It wasn't the freedom she craved, but it was a fragile step, a crack in the wall between them. That night, alone in her room, Anna sat by the window, the moon casting silver light across her face as she replayed their conversation, exhaustion seeping into her bones. The mansion's luxury felt like a gilded cage, its walls whispering of her trapped existence. She wondered if freedom was possible, if she could ever claw her way out of this life. A fire kindled within her. She wasn't powerless. Wiping her tears, she made a silent vow to fight for her freedom, no matter the cost, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. In his study, Rudra sat hunched over his desk, the dim light casting shadows across his face as he wrestled with his thoughts. He'd been too harsh, he knew, but the image of Anna running from him had ignited something primal, a mix of anger and fear he couldn't name. Her fear puzzled him. There was a depth to it he didn't understand, a story she hadn't told. He wanted her to see he wasn't just the monster she feared, but his feelings for her were a tangled mess of protection, possession, and something deeper he wasn't ready to face. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, he let himself hope, for the first time, that trust could bridge the chasm between them, that he could be more than the man who scared her. The next morning, tension crackled in the air as Rudra met with Tanny in his office, his voice sharp with frustration over a critical company event. Anna stood nearby, clutching a tray of coffee she'd been sent to prepare, her presence a quiet shadow in the room. She kept her distance from Rudra, speaking only when necessary, even avoiding littler of Rudra's young son, because Rudra's disapproval weighed heavily on her. "How is it possible no model is available for tonight?" Rudra snapped, his patience fraying. Tanny explained the contracted model was ill, and others couldn't be arranged on short notice. "When did you find out about the party?" he demanded, his eyes narrowing. "Yesterday," Tanny replied, her voice steady. "The guy handling invitations forgot to tell me." Rudra's jaw tightened. "Fire him. I won't tolerate incompetence. He's gone tomorrow, and that's final. Now find a model. This event is make or break for the company." Silence fell as they racked their brains for a solution. Anna moved to set the coffee tray down, not wanting it to cool, when Tanny's eyes lit up. "Got it," she explained, pointing at Anna. "Problem solved. She's our model." Anna's heart sank, her voice faltering. "Me?" Rudra's objection was swift. "No, she can't represent the company." Tanny rolled her eyes. "Like you have options." The thought of standing on a stage, every eye on her, sent panic coursing through Anna's veins. She'd always crumbled under attention. Rudra's criticism cut deeper. "She doesn't know anything. She can't walk a ramp. She'll ruin our reputation." Tanny's confidence was unshaken. "She's a gem, Rudra. She can do anything." With no alternatives, Rudra relented, his warning to Tanny sharp. "You're responsible if this goes wrong." Tanny dragged Anna to a room brimming with stunning dresses, each one a masterpiece of fabric and design. "These are my creations," Tanny said proudly, her enthusiasm infectious. Anna's fingers brushed a buttery soft gown, her nerves spiking. "I'm nervous," she confessed, her voice trembling. "I can't handle more than a few people looking at me." Tanny's gaze was firm but kind. "Tonight, you'll be confident. The company's reputation rests on you, so brace for every eye in the room." She coached Anna through the basics of a ramp walk, shoulders back, eyes forward, short confident steps, her instructions clear and patient. Anna practiced, her steps shaky at first but growing steadier, each movement a small victory over her fear. When she accidentally bumped into Akshat, Tanny's colleague, during practice, her nerves flared again. "She's representing the company tonight," Tanny explained to Akshat's excited grin. Alone briefly, Akshat's encouragement was warm. "Focus on me at the party. I'll be there, cheering you on." His kindness sparked a fire in Anna. She'd prove Rudra wrong, show him she was more than his doubts. Tanny returned, selecting a rich red gown with a flouncing slit and subtle cleavage, elegant yet daring, its fabric clinging to Anna's curves like a second skin. As Tanny styled her hair into a chic bun, curling tendrils framing her face, Anna stared at her reflection, barely recognizing the poised woman looking back. "He won't blink when he sees you," Tanny teased, her eyes sparkling. Outside, Rudra stood by the car, his tuxedo accentuating his commanding frame, his eyes widening at Anna's transformation, lingering until Tanny's playful nudge broke the spell. "It's just the dress," he muttered, but his stolen glances during the silent drive betrayed his words. At the venue, paparazzi swarmed, their flashes blinding. "Follow me, don't answer them," Rudra instructed, his tone clipped. Anna's stomach churned, but she masked her nerves, walking confidently behind him, each step a defiance of her fear. The hall was a vision of elegance, an X-shaped stage glowing at the front, its lights casting a dreamlike glow. Rudra's arm slid possessively around her waist as guests approached, his grip a silent claim that sent a shiver through her. Tanny and Akshat joined them, Tanny teasing they looked made for each other, though Rudra's tension with Akshat crackled like static. As the show began, Anna's nerves surged, her heart pounding like a drum. When her name was called, she stepped onto the stage, the lights blinding, the audience a dark, faceless sea. Her eyes found Rudra's, their intensity anchoring her, pulling her through the fear. She walked with grace, holding his gaze, each step a triumph over her doubts. The crowd's cheers faded into the background as she focused on him, completing the walk flawlessly. Tanny's praise was effusive. "You were outstanding, Dolly." Back in the hall, Akshat and others showered her with compliments, but Rudra's silence cut like a knife, his lack of acknowledgement stinging more than his criticism. As the night shifted to dancing, Akshat asked Anna to dance, his smile warm, but Rudra intervened, pulling her to the floor. "She's my partner tonight," he said sharply, his arms wrapping tightly around her waist, his closeness overwhelming. Their dance was a storm of tension, her body betraying her with a racing heart as his breath grazed her ear. "Were you going to dance with him?" he whispered, his voice edged with possessiveness. She shook her head quickly, and his grip softened, but his intent was clear. "Everyone should know you're mine," he murmured, his words both a claim and a chain. Anna squirmed, the crowd's gaze heavy, her discomfort growing as his lips brushed her cheek. She pushed him back, mumbling an excuse about the restroom, her heart pounding as she fled to the bathroom. Staring at her flushed reflection, she tried to steady her trembling hands, the mirror reflecting a woman caught between fear and defiance. She lingered, dreading Rudra's reaction, but left to avoid his anger. As she stepped into the hall, a rough hand grabbed her, yanking her into a dimly lit room. Mr. Varma, a shadow from her past, loomed over her, his alcohol-soaked breath making her gag. "You humiliated me," he snarled, "and now you'll pay." His hands clawed at her, pitting her against the wall as panic surged. Anna fought back, her knee connecting with his groin, and she bolted for the door. It swung open to reveal Rudra, his eyes blazing with a fury that froze her blood. He lunged at Varma, fists flying, blood splattering as he unleashed his rage. "How dare you touch her?" he roared, each punch a testament to his possessiveness, his anger a wildfire. The host intervened, dragging Varma's battered form away, and Rudra's gaze snapped to Anna, his fury now aimed at her. "It wasn't my fault," she stammered, tears stinging her eyes. "He dragged me in." Rudra grabbed her arm, his grip bruising, pulling her toward the exit. Akshat stepped in, his voice firm. "Let her go." He revealed he owned 30% of the company, hinting at secrets he knew about Rudra's hold over Anna. Their tug-of-war escalated, Rudra growling, "She's mine," and Akshat retorting, "She's 30% mine." Anna's frustration erupted like a volcano. "I'm not an object," she screamed, wrenching free and storming to the hall, her chest heaving with anger. Collapsing into a chair, she ignored the crowd, her emotions a tangled mess of rage and pain. The bartender offered a drink, and without thinking, she downed it, then another, and another, desperate to numb the ache in her soul. Her head spun, the room tilting as Rudra found her, his voice sharp. "What are you doing?" he scolded. "I hate you," she slurred, her words spilling out in a drunken torrent. "I'm not an object, I'm Anna Kapoor." She stumbled outside, giggling at a tree, her voice childlike as she called Rudra. Rough and tough, but heartless, her words cutting him deeper than she realized. He pulled her back, his expression softening for a fleeting moment as her pain pierced him. At an ice cream cart, her eyes lit up like a child's, and he bought her one, draping his coat over her shivering shoulders, a rare act of gentleness that felt foreign to them both. In the car, silence enveloped them, but Anna's declaration echoed. She was a person, not a possession. As the city lights blurred past, a flicker of hope sparked in her heart. Maybe she could fight for her freedom, and maybe, just maybe, Rudra could change. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, Anna felt a quiet strength growing within her, a resolve to carve her own path, no matter the obstacles. Rudra glanced at her, his own heart heavy with unspoken regrets, wondering if he could be the man she needed, not just the one who claimed her. Their story was far from over, each moment a step toward redemption or ruin. To be continued, type Episode 6 in the comments to bring the next chapter to life ASAP. And hey, Leap Inspire family, if Anna's fight for freedom and this roller coaster of emotions touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and join our family. Your support fuels these stories, inspiring us to keep bringing you tales of courage and hope that light up your soul. Thank you for being here. Let's keep leaping together.